Okay, so is it possible for us to connect with Natasha's true self today?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, so it seems like we are meeting this week in Hermanus, which is like the whale watching kind of capital of South Africa. We didn't meet a couple of weeks ago in the central of the Western Cape. Is there a reason why we have to meet here today, now, and not as previously planned?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The energy was not right.
What was going on then? It was about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
The energetical shifts was changing a lot of different grids on the earth lining, which caused a lot of different discrepancies to trickle through.
Yes.
This caused mass destruction to the mind thought patterns, as we can say. The perceptions were coming in a lot different than planned.
Okay, so are you talking about Natasha specifically?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Her mind became her own enemy, as she was doubting a lot of different things and doubting what she was feeling.
Yes.
She wasn't used to this type of energy and therefore saw it immediately as something more negative, as allowing it to flow.
Yes. Okay, so are you saying she was kind of channeling more of like an ego aspect? Is that what you're saying? And it was just being reflected, projected by the outside world as well?
No, this was not it. She was being bombarded by many different types of energies which can connect to her on her plane, as she is stimulating from many different vibrations, as we can say.
Yes. But she was saying that she felt like a little bit harassed, like she's been harassed and her questioning, something is questioning her in her dreams. Can you talk about that?
Yes, this is true. There are some energies which are vibrating at multiple frequencies, which free willingly choose not to be of a higher vibration, as we can say. These energies are trying to prevent certain grids from lifting. However, they are not successful. They have been looking and questioning many for different things, not only her.
Mm. And which are these grids that they're trying to prevent from being lifted?
We cannot state this.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to say about these dreams or these kind of, interferences that she's having? She seems to be really bothering her, and seems like she's being influenced at her house as well, place of residence.
Yes, there are a lot who are trying to connect to her at this time to try and bring through false information, as they want her to channel through and give this information to others. However, we have been blocking them successfully. It is now just her mind, her thought-based frequency. See, there is a war. This war is not of flesh and blood, if we could say. This is an energetical war of thought patterns. Many frequencies are being streamed in through to the collective at this point to try and sway the thought pattern, as this is what the outcome is going to be. If those who are receiving these thought patterns connect to it, they can shift the timeline. They can shift the way the jump would be perceived. However, they cannot delay that the jump would happen. They could just change the structure in which the jump would take place.
Okay, so how do we know if the frequencies we're channeling is pure then, or of our highest, truest nature?
This is now to connect back to the inner spark. This is something that we have been trying to teach many over the years, as there's been misconception. The head and the heart are two different frequency bases. This must come more from a feeling, from the inner side, not of the outer. Many have been channeling and receiving false information, as there has been false channels coming through, perceiving and pretending to be one's true self or one's guidance.
Yes. Okay, so how can we distinguish, and you're saying it's coming through the native frequencies that you were speaking about last time, is that correct?
Yes, this is correct. This comes from the center. This comes from the heart. This comes from that inner feeling. This is a very simple concept. However, the mind has become so powerful to override any kind of feeling sensation.
Okay. And then how can we be sure that we're channeling the heart? What are these steps, practical steps we can look for then, if we know we're channeling the inner God spark and not, the external programming of the mind?
This is to get to a point where you no longer receive from outside influence. Now, what one would say is to clear the mind, but what does this mean, to clear the mind? The mind can never be clear. This is a false concept. It is to realize that the mind is streaming in so many different things, but not to listen. It is to take that awareness as one would from the mind and place it in the heart. Feel that concept of connecting the way that you would meditate, the way that you would listen. But instead of using your ear from the head, use it from the heart. This could be done by visualization. Another would like to step in.
Yeah, sorry, who were we just speaking with?
You were speaking with water, but I'm the fire.
Okay. So why would you need to step forward now?
Because this is a concept that I could explain better.
Okay.
This is more of a feeling, a passion. The thing is, there is multiple differences between emotion and passion. The way that we perceive passion is more of a native frequency, a native way of connecting with all those around us, more of a naturistic flow, if we can say.
Okay. It's kind of like a bliss, inner bliss, passion.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
When connecting in towards the chest, you will find a stillness. This is the one to listen to. There must be no emotion, no connection. We would say a peaceful state, but this is also not an accurate statement. There is a way to feel it's almost as if you're in the quietness, in the stillness. You cannot even feel an energetical wave around the vessel. Thus is when you are truly connected to that inner spark. We call this the true spark, as many have different perceptions of what they are and who they are. This is something that we cannot explain fully because this will confuse many, but we will do our best. There is difference between what is perceived as a higher self. A higher self is something of a higher mind that connects with the collective. Thus, many can stream from the same sources. However, the true spark is the essence of which this energetical form comes from. Many stem from multiple dimensions and multiple ranges. There are other places that many can also stream energetically from where others are not even aware. It is to connect back to that frequency base to see the true self. Yes, all is source. Yes, all comes from source. However, source has been multiplying and perceiving different forms of itself for many of a time, if we can say. So many do stream from different connections. Thus is why it is important at this time to stream from your original connection. However, there is a wall. There is energies and frequencies being projected out to block this connection, to sway the connection, to use the energy in a way that is going to block the jump. However, the jump will happen. The jump will happen with Gaia. She is already almost there. The whole thing is now to connect to the space frequency so that the vessels can jump with it. Gaia will not wait for the vessels. Gaia is already on her way. This thought-based frequencies gets projected and can block out anything coming from the mind. This is why the mind cannot be trusted anymore. The mind has been infiltrated. There are certain frequency bases who do not want this jump to be successful, who want to block as many from jumping. Thus is why now the energy shifts have been happening and increasing. This has been playing with a lot of those of their mind. A lot of those have been feeling depressed and anxious. This is because their energy knows what they are connecting to is not the true energy. Thus is their own intuition-based thought trying to tell them to stream from another source.
But are you saying the true self is kind of even stronger connection to source? Is that what you're saying? And the other one is more multiplication, which is kind of a weaker connection. Is that?
Yes, this is an easy way to describe it. However, it is more complicated than that.
Okay, but if we're calling forth, these kinds of channels, should we be calling forth higher, truer self? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the truer self, but those should not be connecting to outside forces. This is becoming now a very tricky substance, as there are different energies on different dimensional spaces with different agendas, as they are bringing forth their truth and their information, but they are not bringing forth the right information that the collective needs at this time.
Okay. But how can people be sure that this kind of channeling or transmission is actually connecting to the true self?
because it will come from the inside, not from the outside. All different types of channels have been coming from the outside into the mind and being perceived. But when it is streamed directly from the inside, you can feel it from the vessel. You can feel it within this chest cavity. You can feel it through the electromagnetic field. This way, no discrepancies could take place. There could be nothing channeling from the inside other than the true spark. However, this was not possible many time ago, as this earth plane frequency was not ready for that type of energy. Certain vessels can still not hold that type of light and would physically tear the tissue, as it is only some who could achieve this. This is why it is very important now to make sure that the vibration is correct.
Okay, just getting back to the native frequencies, can you just explain to people again how to connect with their heart? You're saying now it's not an emotional thing because we perceive our heart to be emotion-based. So what exactly are you saying? And can you please make it practical so that people can do it at home, so that we can actually, raise the frequency and actually transcend this kind of experience we're having?
Yes, it is to understand why the heart does what it does. Like we say, this emotion, there is many perceptions of emotion, so we cannot use this as an example. Reason being is because, like we say, many will perceive this incorrectly. We would take the same concept as one would use the mind. The mind, when meditation takes place, is to clear the mind, to allow the thoughts to flow into the background. The same with the heart. It is to feel from the heart, but to allow the emotion to run in the background, not stepping into those current emotions until you can start to feel a stillness where you cannot even feel any kind of energetical pull on the skin itself or around the vessel. This is where you feel in complete quietness, as we can say. The physical sound may not be quiet around the vessel, but it would be a stillness within the chest. When this takes place, the light will be felt. It will be felt from the inside, and thus is when you will know. There is no questioning of when you connect to this light. This is why it is the true spark. Once you have connected to it, there is no room for doubt. There isn't even a thought pattern which could create doubt to this area. Thus is when you will know. It is instantaneously. It is an instinct that one could never forget, as it is the original basis.
It's kind of like an internal inner knowing.
Yes, it is connected with the intuition. The intuition connects through this basis. However, many have used the mindset complex to try and change the frequency. Where they feel their true intentions, then they place a thought pattern above it, which then breaks that connection.
Okay, and you're saying that Natasha is feeling it in her heart right now?
Yes, she is going in and out between that, as she is still trying to learn this concept herself.
Okay, and she says that she knows she's here to teach about energy, but what type of teachings and what does she need to do to start?
She is currently at this point where she is going to start teaching how to connect through this frequency base. This is why we explain it as such. Now, to get to this area, depending on the different types of frequency, one must take into consideration where their frequency is vibrating at that time. It is easy to say that you can feed the vessel and you can clean it, that it is vibrating at a higher frequency. However, if the thought-based patterns are of lower vibration, you can pull the frequency down. This is what she is coming to teach. She is coming to teach about how to connect to this energy, how to connect to the true self, how to stimulate the frequency to get there. This is why she has been urging herself to create a platform. However, she has not been successful, as she's been doubting herself.
Okay. What do you mean? Are you talking about social media platform?
Yes, any platform at that. There is no specific way she needs to do it. She just needs to get the information out there. However, she has, as we would say, been procrastinating. She has been so doubtful that many will not understand this information. But she does not understand that many of those who are watching this, many of those who are connecting to this energy will instantaneously follow her, whether it be energetically or physically through social media. Yeah. This does not matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay, having this platform, is there something that you would like to say then to help people to kind of raise their frequencies as you describe it?
It is to not trust your thoughts. You cannot trust your thoughts at this stage. The thoughts are being manipulated. The thoughts are being altered. This is a war of thought. This must be known. This must be given. Your thoughts is the only thing that can sway the heart. This is what makes it so dangerous, but yet beautiful at the same time. It is now to remember that your outside thoughts can be manipulated. Do not look into other things. Yes, be aware of what is going on in the world, but do not listen. This is a time where false information is being perceived out in order to sway the collective. The group consciousness is now the only thing that is going to prevent many from jumping. As their vessels might be ready, but they might be connecting to different frequency thought bases, which is allowing them to play out those realities. This is how it works. The connection that you connect to is where your thought-based frequency creates this reality, which means this is where you will be allowed to get your perception. So if you are jumping into a false perception, you will perceive this. But it does not mean that you will be pulled out of it and then going with the jump. This must be known. This is what it is. All has to believe, yes, it will happen as it needs to. However, if the thought pattern frequency is not connected, the jump will not happen for that individual. So this is a time to get quiet. This is a time to fall into line with oneself.
Like you said last time, it's time to return home.
Yes, stop trying to find out what is happening with others. This does not matter, as others are on other frequency bases and their true essence is somewhere else. So what another is perceiving in their dimensional space is right for them and not right for the other. This is a concept that needs to be understood. We are multidimensional beings coming through from multiple areas. We cannot be relying on the same source-based information to get to the jump.
But what does the collective look like at the moment? Where are we swaying towards?
This is a difficult one to say as it keeps changing. Many have the perfect thought base, as what we can say, where they are connected to this jump. But then something could happen during the day and their thought base sways. This is why we need to make this known, to keep those thoughts. It does not have to be a positive or negative. This is the misconception. It is just the outcome. One could have a negative experience within their day, but it is to say, okay, it is going to work out at the end of the day and not thought-based planned it. This is very powerful. The more the higher light trickles in, the more the energy is becoming tantric. This means that it is coming into the physical. This perception is coming true. It is no longer just hovering around in the vortex. It is becoming manifestation faster than many can think.
Yes. Why is manifestation so fast these days?
Because the energy is getting bigger. The light is becoming stronger. Therefore, it is, way we can explain, is being in a room full of mirrors. If you are standing close to a mirror and you project light into it, it is immediately going to project back. However, if you put distance between it, it will take time for that light to perceive back to that oneself. This is the best way we can describe it. What is happening now is the vessels are creating their own light bases. The light is physically streaming out from inside of the heart chakra around the vessel. The higher the light, the more the bounce back. It is the people's own thought patterns which are bouncing back on them. Everything is a mirror. It is their own energy bouncing into their fields. Therefore, the bigger the light, the stronger the manifestation. The more instantaneously this is going to trickle in. This light can become so potent that it is going to start to become physical manifestations. Most of it already has. Now, there are different thought-based frequencies which we need to make clear. Many are projecting and creating realms that do not need to be there, realms which do not serve one's vessel, realms which do not serve one's self-being. By connecting to these realms, you are creating them to be a possible place. This is what is creating a dangerous effect for many because they are pulling themselves completely out of alignment. Whether they were in alignment or not beforehand does not matter. It is now the time to connect to it. Does this make sense?
Makes sense. So you're saying that because we're all brighter right now, it's kind of like it's mirroring back to us. We're kind of just mirroring this light off of each other. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And that makes the manifestation quicker, almost instant.
Yes, this is what is happening. And now everything that is attached to that manifestation must come true. The ones who are taking longer with these manifestations is because they keep adding multiple things. But this does not mean that it will not come to flourish. Every single thought, every single base, even if it is not known in the conscious mind, is coming to light. Every doubt, Everything that gets projected out is projecting back. Thus is why many are so confused at this time.
Okay. Okay, we'll get to the 5D, 3D talks a bit later. Natasha said she has trouble understanding what she sees energetically, and she feels like everyone she asks or talks to about it doesn't understand it either. What she's trying to explain. How can this be explained to her?
This is a concept that has been tried to be explained to her so many times, but she does not listen.
Okay.
As we will try to digest it down to a way that she could make sense of it. She does not just stream in light from one source. She streams in light from 4 different sources. As we perceive ourselves as elementals, we are much more than such. However, this is a too complicated thought-based pattern for her to digest at this time. However, she is feeling emotion. She is feeling different frequencies. She is feeling different types of vibrations. Now, what it is, she can see the true intent of all this energy before it becomes a perception. This is why it makes it confusing. She does not know how to deal with that, and she does not need to know that at this time. Okay. She will receive everything in the moment as she goes. This has been told to her many times, that she messes up the information. Not because she is one that cannot handle the information. This is more her mind is not quiet yet. Her mind is very chaotic. She thinks about things continuously. She talks to herself on a continuous basis. Yes. Therefore, all energy and all frequency hovering around her can hear these thoughts. Thus is why we cannot give her any viable information until the last minute, which is best for her, as she does not need to know. There is nothing that she needs to know about it. Her own opinions do not need to be laced upon this energy, as it is not for her to put her opinion on. It is just for her to perceive it out, to carry it through to others, to teach them, to make them understand.
Okay, and she doesn't have to compare what she's seeing energetically to what other people are seeing energetically.
No,
it doesn't matter.
None will ever see what she sees, and this is the beauty. This is why she is here. This is why she is a new soul created with all 4 parts of us streaming in. This is why we have done this, so that there could be multiple perceptions put into one perspective that none will see. And this is why it will be key. This is why this information cannot be tainted.
Okay, but it seems like this information is very similar to what many other QHHT practitioners and channels are streaming at the moment. Why is this so specific?
It is not this information that is given at this time. There is going to be a time where you two are going to bring forth information that none will receive. This is going to be a pure information. This cannot be tainted, because this is what is going to set off the spark. This is what is going to be given, and many will instantaneously unlock their knowledge from it.
Okay, so you're talking about a kind of new knowledge.
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
No, we cannot expand on anything at this time.
Is there any indication as to when we might receive that?
No, as many cannot know when this is going to happen.
Okay, and does this have something to do with this kind of new Atlantis concept you were talking about last time?
Yes.
Can you maybe just talk about that? Because people seem to be a little bit confused, why is it called Atlantis? Will it be as technologically evolved, or is it more like an energetically developed society?
It is the energetical. It is the energy that streams there. Atlantis had access to an energy grid, to an energy field that helped them expand their consciousness, which helped them expand what their vessels could perceive. Now, this is what is going to happen. All those who are coming closer there to that Atlantis are activating the technology within their vessels.
Okay.
This is what's going to allow them to achieve No. Sorry. Natasha is asking a question.
What is she asking?
She is asking what type of technology and how can it be explained. But this is not a physical technology. This is a technology that has already been embodied in every vessel.
Okay, so you're saying it's an inner technology, which I'm assuming has something to do with the heart again.
Not just the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Each chakra holds light that can perceive into a different type of technology. This is why the human body is so beautiful but yet underestimated. All of these things which we are trying to desire and get out from the outside world has already been embodied into this vessel.
Yes.
This vessel already has capability of It could strengthen its own skin, which could protect it from any abrasions, as many would joke and say bulletproof. This is a true fact. The vessel could do it. If the light inside of the vessel is correct, the mind could be as what you would perceive a cell phone. You could energetically connect to someone else and instantaneously have a call. You could even see them, as we could say. There is transport. This vessel could move from one plane to another without even needing to feed it. There is so many things that are not being perceived from this vessel. This vessel, if we could say, is being used 1% capacity of what it has been made. This is why the Atlantis energy, the energetical right to unlock all of the chakra bases so that this vessel could be used, so this technology could be used. The physical ground and the physical dimensional space that is streaming in from the pyramid is one where one without the same vibration could not match it. They could not have access to this energy.
So I suppose the question is, it sounds like a cell phone, right? We're running on old programs and the cell phone needs to be upgraded. Is that correct?
Yes, this is such. As we could say, in a term that makes it more digestible, the vessel is now a Nokia, one of those old ones that could only play with black and white screen. Now it is upgrading to one of these touch screen phones which are more fancy. However, they are not needed.
You're saying a cell phone will not be needed?
Yes.
Okay. Can you maybe expand on that?
This technology is a waste. This is how they are breaking the thought-based patterns. The energetical signals which are being streamed through these physical technologies is what is disrupting the mind. This is what is creating the discrepancies. This is what is blocking the expansion. This desire to use the physical where one does not know what is lying within their own vessel.
Okay, but I suppose these technologies also connect people because transmissions like this can be shared. So there's a yin and the yang, and there's a pro and a con to everything, right?
Yes, this is a concept for now.
Yes.
But soon there is going to come a time in the future where none of this is going to be viable on this planet. We cannot state when this is happening, as it all depends on the collective and the energetical jump. However, there will be a time where all physical technologies will not be active on this planet. This is why many need to connect back to the heart, as then the heart is going to teach them how to open the mind. And once the mind is open, they will be able to connect with each other over different spaces of time.
Okay, and you're saying this kind of energetic pyramid is going to help us to upgrade our chakra systems. Is that correct?
Yes. There has been other pyramids activated in multiple areas of the world. We cannot state where they are, but they are doing the same. As we could say, this is more the root of the chakras. This energetical area is more the root. This is the root pyramid, which is now causing all those to root themselves back into the earth to make the jump.
And why is this the root chakra?
Because this is where it is placed on the planet to become the root.
The root of what?
The root of the earth. This is Gaia's chakra. Gaia has her own. She is now also developing a different type of energy for herself. She is jumping into a physical energetical space. She has got multiple chakras that she needs to open. This is just the start.
And should we consciously participate in these processes of opening earth chakras? And if so, how?
This could be done through the mind. Yes, this could help, but it is going to happen whether we are conscious of it or not. It is to perceive it. It is to understand it. It is to go with the jump. This is why there are many storms.
Okay.
This root chakra is breaking grids, and not the grids that have been placed by the Lightworkers, grids that have been placed on this planet for so many times to block any kind of energetical elevations. This is what's happening. This is why there's mass purge. There is mass cleansing.
Are you saying that there's like a dark grid over the light grid, and that's what's been blocking ascension?
Yes, but it is more the other way around. There used to be a dark grid and the light grid was worked on top of it. Now the dark grid is being forced in and needs to be rooted out. And this is why it was important to have the earth chakra open, the root, as it is rooting through all of that mass energy. And we are all beacons perceiving this light as well.
Okay, so you're saying the dark grid is escaping through this root clearing.
It is being cleansed through it and being upgraded into the light. It is not being disappeared and it is not being chased away. This is a misconception about saying that the dark is evil. However, many do free willingly perceive this and create evil thought bases, which is true. However, this dark energy needs to be light. It is coming back and, as we could say, being recycled. It is merely just changing its perception to fit what is happening energetically around it.
Okay.
but it needs to be integrated. There has been many dark things on this planet, many suffering, many energy thought bases that have been created over a period of time, which has then caused problems. Thus is why the earth has been felt as such a dark place for so many millennia, as we can say, even from the first Atlantis, even before Atlantis, even when the different energetical beings from multiple dimensions have come here, they have been using this. Now it is time to integrate it and to remove it from this planet. This planet has suffered enough.
Yes. Okay, and just talk about the chakra systems in the human body. How can we work to upgrade those? And which are the technologies which reside in each chakra?
Thus is something that we cannot explain at this time, as it is going to complicate and confuse many.
Okay.
However, what we can say is, once one has mastered connecting back to the heart will teach you, the heart will show you this is the best. There is no outside influence. There is no one to tell you how to do it, as one would already know. Thus is why it has been closed off for so long, to block many from getting to it. This is what they were doing. But now the energy is right on the planet for each to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There is no one that is going to come and tell you exactly how to do it. Once one has connected to that inner guidance system, it is you. You will teach yourself. Your true energy will just remember source. It will just remember what it came for. It will remember how to do it. This is the best, because if something needs to be taught, there could be misunderstanding. There could be discrepancies. That is why everything on this planet has been the way it has been. This is why the darkness has been alive here for so long, because of these misunderstandings. But when one's true self can teach you, one cannot go wrong. It is not even a teaching. It is not even a learning. It is more of a remembering. It is more of instinct. It is more of knowing in the moment. Every single one who connects like this will know what the other knows. They would all do the same thing without even having to tell each other.
Yes.
That is why it is so important. We cannot stretch how important this concept is. As we are saying, to be taught different things, the outside influence is now what is creating problematicness. This is why we need to come back inside. Once you come back inside, there is no room for error. There is nothing that can change the discrepancy of the true light.
Yes. I suppose that's quite a difficult concept, because we look at these spiritual teachers and it seems like they are definitely connected, not externally influenced or focused. But it seems to us like quite a daunting task, I suppose, for the average human.
Yes, this need to be remembered, that many times the earth has not been on a great energetical plane, as we can say. There are multiple dimensions and frequencies hovering over the same area. This is a concept that many cannot digest. Some have learned to master it, and it has taken them great difficulty. However, they have done this to pave the way to open it as the new energy is streaming in now. Only now, thus, as we could say in your time-space period, the last couple of weeks, the energy is starting to open for this to come forth. This is why we are giving the information today. One could have not have done this a couple of months ago. It is only now that one can try, and there you will be successful.
Okay, so you're saying that the energies and frequencies are actually perfect now for us to be able to connect with ourselves and starting to get the answers by ourselves.
Yes.
But connecting through the heart, you're saying?
Yes. This is the time now to try. This is the time to experiment. Many other times it would have failed. This would not have happened. Okay. Now it is the perfect time. But it is to do it as the way we described. You cannot listen with the head anymore. You need to listen with the heart. Many would like to know how to do this, as we would try to explain by, instead of listening through the third eye, as many would when listening to guides or channels, picture your ear. Picture the ear and the noise and the vibration coming from the heart. Try to change the mindset concept of where this frequency is coming from. Thus is where you will start to feel the change. There is many ways of doing it. Not all are going to succeed in one way. It is now to experiment.
Okay, but is that similar to the gratitude frequency, right? Which is like the source frequency. Is that what you're feeling inside?
Yes, what would happen is a light would be perceived. However, as we say, it would be a calmness. First, it would be very overwhelming for those who connected for the first time, as a lot of emotion would come past. Yes, a lot of gratitude and a lot of overwhelming love will be felt. However, the more you connect deeply into it, it is as there is a stillness. There is just a peace. There is just a knowing. There is not even a space for any kind of emotional vibration, none negative, none positive. There is just nothing. The best way we can prescribe it is stillness.
Yes, it's like I am that I am, right?
Yes, it is. There is not even room to start doubting. There is just a feeling of knowing that this is it.
Okay.
There is no sensation that needs to be felt. A bright light could be seen. Many of those who would see a very bright light. They could probably see it flicker in and out.
Okay.
They could see color changes. However, it is more of a gold light.
Why gold?
Because this is Source true nature, is a golden light.
Oh, we thought it was like a bright white light. What is that?
That is also Source.
Okay. Is the one higher Source, so how does it work?
No. This is just the same light being perceived differently. The closer you are to the light, the brighter it gets.
Okay. And
those who are not as connected would first see a gold light as they are standing quite a distance away, if we can put it into this perception. The closer you get, the whiter it is.
I see.
Therefore, it becomes blinding.
And Natasha was saying that it was one of her drawings that she did, but also one of my other channels where the root and the heart chakra, the colors are reversed. So as we know, the heart is green and the root is red, but the sketches they made, it was in reverse. Why is that?
This is because it was locked. It was locked after the first Atlantis. This is when the energy was too dangerous for any of those to unlock its full potential, as they used it in a different way. They used it with their own perception and not going with the guidance system.
Okay, and are you saying that are we now again where the heart is red and the root is green? Are we at that place now?
Thus is when one connects back into the heart, it will change the color. One has to unlock it. The vessel will not automatically unlock this area. Thus is why it is important to go back into the true self. Once connecting to the true self and the spark, the heart chakra would glow red again. The green would come from the root. The green is healing, rooting itself into the healing of the planet. Thus is why if many could also see the pyramid, they would see it more green.
Yes, okay, so that makes more sense, right? The root is green and the heart is red. So,
yes.
But you're saying we need to kind of connect with that inner spark in order to be able to reverse those, those energies.
As all vessels were locked because the energy was not right. But as we say now, the energy is right on this plane.
Okay, is there anything else about Atlantis, this new Atlantis you were talking about last time?
There are many concepts that we could give to this. It's depending on what is the collective ready to hear. Many are in a more of a frightened frequency and they do not know how to perceive this energy. Many are scared, as we could say, about what is going to come. But what we would say is a lot of things are going to start to ripple up now, as many have already seen these storms coming. And this is only the beginning. Many energetical changes is going to start to trickle out for the healing, and one must remember that. Yes, there might be slight devastation, but one must hold on to the thought-based frequency of healing. This is why it needs to happen. There cannot be healing if there was never a wound.
Okay, and then this kind of, people seem to be stuck in this limbo. It feels like we're stuck on this like rickety 4D bridge, you know, that's kind of just caving in underneath us. And people are just getting a little bit frustrated about how we can't, you know, just kind of transcend, or not transcend, but I suppose move over this limbo period. Is there any information about that?
Yes. Now what is happening with this period is everyone is waiting. Everybody is waiting for the right time. However, none know when this time is. When this time happens, Source would send out a call. Once Source sends out a call that it is time to jump, it will happen. None know of this information, and none should know. This is only for Source to know.
Okay, but if everything is a projected reality and we can easily shift between dimensions, can one not just shift to 5D already? Or is it dependent on the critical mass?
Many can shift in and out of this dimensional space, and many have. However, it is for the whole planetary alignment to shift. It is not just the planet herself which is shifting. It is the whole dimensional space which holds this planet.
Okay. But is there anything else about how we could maybe just kind of feel a little bit more stable in this limbo or this rickety bridge? Because as I understand it, we are in upper 4D right now. And like you said, we're kind of in and out 4D, 5D, 3D all the time.
Yes, this is only going to change once the collective perception has gotten mass collectiveness, as we can say. A lot are moving in and out of this consciously, but a lot are not staying there, and a lot are not ready. The light cannot be integrated. However, this is happening. This is why it is now important to connect back to the true self, because once the true self connection is there, the jump is going to happen. But it is as many start to connect to the true self and jump back out to hold on to the outer world. This is what has been becoming the problem. It is all these thoughts. Why do you need to think of it? Why do you need to keep going back? Why do you need to keep creating this concept of moving in and out? This is what we do not understand. Many want to stay stuck in this limbo. Many call it that they are in it. But however, by just going, I am no longer in this limbo, I am now in the 5D and living in that 5D energy, therefore it will start to become perception around. Thus is where we're standing still. However, many are waiting on the border, as because if many would jump at this time, a lot of casualties would happen. This is what we are trying to prevent. We are trying to create a smooth jump. We are trying to create that many could go with it. However, there will still be big devastation. But this is something that mind must not be paid attention to, as we will not perceive it.
Yeah, I feel like people are quite still quite addicted to this external story, right? It seems people very much focused on family members and projected reality stories from childhood. They seem to not want to let go of those stories. They seem to feel like they have to be suffering.
All of these have already been let go. This is why the route is open. The route is open for everything to let go. No work needs to be done anymore. It is just to not go back to it. Many have turned around, started to walk, and then, as we could say, put their heads back and said, hey, I still see that reality when they are walking forward. It is now to stand inside of the mind. This is why we're saying go back into the native frequency, as then you will see the true perception and there is no room to go back. We cannot hold off anymore. It is going to happen. This is something of creating of a moving forward. This is just to keep going. Do not think of others. This is a time to think of oneself. And we are not talking of oneself in an egotistical way as many would perceive. We are talking of oneself as in to think of one's heart. If your heart is in the right place, all those around you will receive the same projection. This shadow self, this self that you need to let go is all misconception. This is just parts of you that needs to be loved. This is a time to say that this is all loved. Source has created all of these experiences, as we could say, and now we need to love them. We do not need to dwell into them, and we do not need to perceive them. We just need to understand that they were created with purpose, and therefore love them for their purpose, but say, this is something that is not frequency on my dimensional space. This is my space. It has right to be on its own dimensional space, but not be perceived with me, and then it would happen.
Yes. It seems like people are holding on to a lot of guilt and shame when it comes to their family members and not wanting to leave them behind and feeling that they have to become like...
But they must understand that these family members have decided this. This has been decided a long time ago. Many know they are not going to make the jump, and this is them to pay forward their energy. Some are still relieving karma. This is a karmatic world. Many are going to stay behind and not make the jump so that they could come into the new earth. This is something not to be sad about. This is something to just accept.
Okay, but can you talk about karma? Because I've had information from other channels that the karmic grid has been lifted for some. I suppose those who are moving to 5D, but those that are staying in 3D still kind of on the wheel of karma. Is that accurate?
There is a small perception that is not being perceived properly with this kind of information, as we struggle to give this information through, but we are going to do our best. There are many who have been energetically tied into karma by their own will. This is because they could not move out of these frequency patterns. They could not let go, as what we are discussing. Many of them have had karma over the many years. Many of them have chosen to be perceived as these karmatic energies. They are carrying karma for all the others. This is why the grid has been lifted. There are many who have volunteered to lift the grid and to hold the weight. And they know they would not make the jump, as they would be rewarded when they come back into the 5D. There is many different perceptions that could fall in line with this. It is a very complicated topic to talk about. However, what we can say is that is why one must trust the true self. Each true self will give you the information that you need. There is so many different things happening on this planet at the same time. There is also different karmatic energies coming from outside forces. We are also carrying planetary karmatic cycles, not just for the Earth, but other planets too. This is a big jump, bigger than many think.
Yes, it's like quite a massive jump between 3D and 5D. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else about karma? People wanting to get off the wheel of karma?
It is where we would say to just let go. However, we have realized that this is a perception that not many can digest. So the way that we would say it is to forgive oneself, to just forgive what has happened. If one feels that they need to make amends, write it down, read it to oneself, live in those actions. This is to say that I am not responsible for the energy that I was, and to accept that maybe at that time where one has perceived these things, the energy on the earth was not right. But one can assure themselves now by going, the energy is right now, and it's right for me to forgive myself, because one does not actually need to be forgiven. One had to perceive that energy. One had to live that karma to give another an experience, to experience for oneself. So it is just to accept that at that time, it might not have been right for one, but now it is okay. It is to live in a cleaner mind space going forward.
Yes. Okay, very good. Okay, and the next question I have is about this kind of virus that's going across the planet again. Seems to be a new variant in South Africa. Can we talk about that?
This is going to be a very delicate subject, as we will give information as we can, but we do not want to give full information as we need to protect Natasha.
Yes. Okay, well, we don't have to talk about it. Can I still ask questions, or should we rather switch to another topic?
We can start with questions. However, not all information will be given.
Okay, so no, we were just wondering about why it has to be in South Africa. Why do these new variants always show up in South Africa? What is the story here?
As we are going to give information that many will not be able to digest. However, we will give it as accurate as possible. Okay. This is not a new variant. This is the energy. They have felt the energy coming from South Africa. As we said, this is the starting point. This energy has started to trickle out. Many in this country have started to project a very strong light, and they do not want this light to go over to the other countries, as we could say. They do not want this light to stream out. This light will eventually echo up, but by the vessels physically traveling, they would create these light bases all around the world. They are trying to stop this. This is part of the energy group which do not want to see success. They are trying to shut it down. They are going to create many different variants, many different stories. This is a never-ending process, and many need to accept this. They are going to try and control as much as possible. This is not something to be scared of.
So you're saying people from this country have more light and they don't want us to be moving in and out? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they have more light in the sense of they are more connected to the root of the planet. This root chakra cleansing is starting through their light. This is how it is spreading through. As each area of the planet where the rest of the chakras are, the same would soon follow.
Okay, but it seems like they don't want people to come in either now because we've been banned.
Yes, they do not want this energetical ripple. They do not want this light to be perceived out the way it is. They are trying to block this.
Okay, but why South Africa specifically? Is it just to do with this energetic pyramid and the connection to the earth and the root chakra?
Yes, but also has to do with all the different things that is in this country. This country is the only country that could self-sustain. This is what makes this country so dangerous to them. They do not want this light to project out. They do not want the people to take back this country.
What do you mean we can self-sustain?
Self-sustain from any other influence. This is very important. This country has so much to offer. This country has once been self-sustaining where it did not need others. This is when we would get to that point again. This is why the Atlantis starts here. No outside influence is needed. Everything that the beings need here to sustain is already here.
Are you talking about physically, emotionally, chemically, spiritually?
All. The energetical changes start here. The physical changes start here. Many will start to see in areas of this planet the roots are not going to grow, as we could say. Many areas are going to run barren, where in this country, many areas where the soil was not sustainable is going to become sustainable. The weather patterns are going to change drastically. This is something that they are aware of. This is something that they are trying to block. They do not want the harmonious peace to fall from here. This is what many needs to understand. They are going to try and block it as much as possible. They are going to try to block off this country to prevent its light from shining. However, they could not do that.
Okay, but it seems like, kind of Europe, they've all become, it's like a prison states over there, just with the control the mandates. And it seems like Australia, New Zealand, all of these places have now become prison states. How can we prevent that from happening here?
This is where a war is going to happen. And we are not talking maybe about a physical war. We are talking more about the energetical war. This is what the problem is. They are trying to seal this country off because the people are starting to wake up. Once the people start to wake up and take back their own energy, their own truth, it would trickle out. This is how powerful it is. There is no physical war that needs to take place. This is all a war of energy. Once they step into the heart, once they step into the true self, the energy would echo out, and those energies could not be perceived here. This is a concept that many need to start to understand. It is to stand inside the right mindset. They are going to block it off. This is the plan. We cannot say what is going to happen as many timelines are being formed, but they are trying to shift into a timeline where they close everything, where they do not allow expansion. And this is the time to not let that happen. This is the time to not submit. This is the time to stand strong within one's energy and become self-sustaining communities. This is where the communities need to turn back to each other. This is where the control will be lost.
Okay. But it feels like South Africans would not say yes to these kind of mandates. I think if we can stand up to so many things in the past, I feel like we are actually on track to be doing that again.
This is why the South African people has suffered for so many years, is for this exact reason, to be able to stand up and to be able to say that this is not right. The South African people are more connected than what they think. Due to all these traumas, this has paved way for them to bring in more light. This does not make them better than others on other areas, but this makes them more awoke, as we can say. This makes them more conscious of their own energy and what happens. This is what's going to make them stand more community-based. Once they group together, they are unstoppable. This is what they are afraid of.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but should we be standing up and speaking up, or be more kind of like background, light warriors?
This is a difficult one to say. We do not say that one needs to do anything. All that we can say is all of those in South Africa and worldwide who know their true energy connect back. All the messages will be given there. As we cannot state anything out, as we say, many of the messages and energy is being tainted. There is things that need to happen. There's things that need to take place. And one will only receive that guidance from the true self within the heart.
Okay. And would you have anything to say to people who might be forced or somehow forced to take certain substances into their bodies? I think you spoke about it last time, but it seems like there's now even more pressure and control, mandates, stuff like that.
This is going to happen, but it is just to stand in your truth. This is just to say no. They cannot do anything when everybody says no. They are lying in the media. They are manipulating numbers. They are making those think that this is something that is going to happen. Many need to know now, this is just the beginning. They are not going to stop. They are going to keep carrying on to keep control.
Yes.
This is now to look what one is putting into one's body. One should not add any more.
Okay. So I think people might have started taking things and then they realized that this is a never-ending cycle, and now they've maybe kind of changed or turned over.
It is not gotten there yet, but it is getting to a point where the next cycle of influence which is going to come in is going to create changes within the vessels, make them less energetically compatible with the frequency around them. This is when their own underlying conditions are going to come up and harm those vessels. This is something that needs to be known.
Okay.
However, we cannot give any more information on this, as this is not good for Natasha.
Okay. Okay, so there's nothing else about these kind of these measures taken on Earth right now?
There is, but not that can be stated at this time. There will be a lot of information that will be given to you and her in secret. However, this is not ready for the rest of the collective. They first need to connect to the inner thought-based patterns through the heart.
Okay, and just the kind of energetic pyramid, there seems to be kind of like a high frequency point in the middle of the province that we're living in right now. Is that accurate?
Yes, this is accurate, but also not the truth. There are multiple points which are creating an energy stream.
In this province or in this country?
In this province, there are 5.
Okay. Would you like to talk about that, or maybe the earth, all around the earth or the world? Or
we cannot state anywhere around the earth. As we say, there are other areas where these patterns, these frequencies have been starting to shift and come aligned. However, there are different energy beings who are going to bring this in. There are different beings across the earth. And we are talking of different humans which are going to bring in the knowledge of these pyramids. However, this is not for us to state. It is going to be a while before any of those other pyramids become active, as we first need to bring in the root. If the root cannot set and the root cannot become the main frequency base to root in the energy, the other chakras won't be able to be activated. Thus is why this one is so important. Thus is why it is important for everybody to root themselves into this light and love. This is why it's important for everybody to start with the mass cleansing. Healing needs to take place so the rest can just activate.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything about the province, the points, grid points, or the kind of energy frequency points in this province?
There are many who can see these lights, but we are not going to disclose location. As we said, there are many who are free willingly trying to break this information. This is what Natasha has always been afraid of. However, we have reassured her that she is fine. These people, these beings have already tried to get into her mind. They've already tried to get into her thought-based frequency, to sway, to get information. But this is why we do not give any information, because then nothing could be held.
Okay. Okay, so just kind of getting back to the self-love we were speaking about a little bit earlier as well. It seems like a lot of people are, and still in a lot of self-loathing when it comes to intellect, physical appearance, spiritual connection. So does your body have to change in order for you to love it, or can you love it and then it will physically change?
It is more of a mindset, right? So yes, by physically loving it, it will already change. Just by being in the energy, this is how strong it is. It is such an easy concept that we try to describe, but many like to complicate it. It is the vessel will change and upgrade so quickly once it is in the right energy. There are many of those who do not need to even change lifestyle. They just need to change the thought-based frequency, and they will start to see the changes. As we could use an example, as Natasha. She thought in the beginning she would have to do a lot of physical work to get her body slimmer to a point where she could be more comfortable. After her first 3 months, she was tired. She was exhausted. Her vessel was aching and paining, and she decided to give up. However, she just decided to love herself the way she is, and therefore she lost more. As she likes to joke and say, her body starts to tone itself, which is a true concept. By giving that flow, by giving that energy, the body can do anything. This vessel is so smart. This vessel knows more. This vessel has technology, as what we said. It could make the skin hard. This vessel, if it wanted to, could harden the legs and it could walk through anything. This vessel, if it wanted to jump, it could jump so high and land back again without injury. It is because we do not understand how to work with the vessel. It is because the fluid within the vessel has been tainted. This is why we always go back to water. The water inside of the body is the most important. This water is what holds the light. It is what projects out through the cells as to keep the water flowing. If you keep the fluid moving within the body, it is like a little ocean. What it is doing, it is stimulating currents and frequency. Therefore, the body could sculpt itself. It is really that easy. However, human beings like to come to the outer mind, right? They think anything is impossible because they have been told so. This is where those beliefs have come from. Now, many can lie to themselves and say that they are going to lose weight or look better or love themselves, and it will not happen. It needs to be pure. It needs to be an energy. It needs to just be an energy of acceptance. Accept that what you have done to the vessel is wrong, and that you are going to love yourself enough to give yourself the best. Why would you keep giving yourself things which are going to harm your vessel and claim to love it? That is not love. We would take an example. A mother would not feed poison to her child and claim that she loves her child. So why are you putting poison into the vessel? This is now a time to become more aware of what has been put in the environment. This is how they've blocked the vessels from upgrading to light. This is what has started to happen. There is many chemical bases in a lot of products, even food substances. There is many things in daily products that has been applied to the vessel, which actually slows the vessel down. This needs to be taken into consideration. This needs to be seen. Why is the vessel struggling? It is not because one does not love the vessel. It is because one does not love the vessel enough to want to investigate.
But what do we do with the resistance that we feel towards ourselves, that the way we look physically?
This is a mind concept. Thus is, as we said, to look at oneself, to see what is happening. Yes, this is a difficult concept to hold. Thus is to say, I love myself enough to know that this is not how I'm going to look. It is to just change the way that you perceive the area. It is better if another comes in and explains.
Yes, thank you very much. And who are we speaking with now?
We could call the Earth base.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much.
This is a concept that many struggle with, and I could feel it on a daily basis. This is a collective theme. This is a hard time. This resistance is something to not be judged. Many don't understand this resistance, as we can say, and it is all right. The thing is, this resistance is teaching you what is the things that you resist the most about yourself. What is the things that you cannot, as we would say, stomach coming back to you. Thus is a sign of where upgrade needs to happen. Thus is a lesson, nothing more. One cannot grow unless one sees the path. This is how it works. If one looks in the mirror and thinks, wow, my thighs are fat, this is something that makes you unhappy. However, it is to say, okay, yes, my thighs are fat as a human would perceive it. But by saying, okay, I cannot change this at this very time. What can I change? I can change my perception of it, and I can say, I am going to perceive myself better each day simply by telling the vessel, ooh, you have lost weight. I see a dimple there. It is looking good. The vessel will start to believe it. The vessel will feel the energy. This is how potent it is. The vessel is always listening. Many get this right. And then you would see actually a few weeks would go by and you would really look in the mirror and say, oh, wow, my thighs are skinny. The vessel listens. The cells and the tissues listen. The tissue listens on the inside. When the frequency comes there and it hears, I am fat, it does not hear a negative or positive. It hears, she wants to be fat. Keep the fat. But when one says, ooh, look at the loss, they go, okay, we must lose this now as she wants the loss. It is just to change the perception. But also you cannot expect the loss if you are not going to do anything of it. Just love the body. You can rub your hand over the area and say, hey, I love you. Increase your light and start burning away this fat. And the vessel would start to listen. This is a part of the new energy now that is streaming through this earth. This is very important. As we say, instant manifestation. You can manifest a beautiful body. You can sculpt it out. There is no drastic measures that need to be changed. Old earth is not here anymore. We are now moving forward.
Okay, but it seems quite challenging to change one's perception just like that. And it seems like a little bit of a fake it till you make it situation.
Yes, something like this. It needs to happen on repeat. It needs to become a habit.
Okay, a new program.
Yes, this is the only way it is going to work. However, it is to do it in a way that is going to make you happy. The thing is, you need to start doing the things that make you happy. And now we are not talking about go and eat a hamburger and say that this makes you happy. What we mean is by standing up every morning and taking that 5 minutes to spend time on the vessel. This is why Natasha is obsessed with body brushing. This is why we have forced her into this matter, as we can say. She had many other options, but we've tried to show her how important the fluid is. She takes 1 minute every day at least to just brush the vessel. By her brushing the vessel and just having a moment of gratitude for the vessel has upgraded the light and the vessel has changed so much within her body. This has helped her quite a lot. And it's just to keep that routine, to just say you love yourself enough to know that you deserve better. It is a program and it is hard to digest, and we know many are going to struggle with it. But those who are struggling with it for a reason. There is a deeper lesson to be taught, and not one only of just self-worth, but one to physically see. Why does this make you unhappy? What perception are you perceiving back from it? This is going to help your ascension.
Okay. So you're saying it's kind of like what Natasha did, is programming 5 minutes or 20 minutes of self-love or
Yes.
self-care into your day to make yourself show that you appreciate yourself and love yourself.
Yes, she programmed her beliefs that this is going to help her, and therefore it did. That is how easy it is.
Okay.
However, the vessel needs physical touch. The vessel needs stimulation. The vessel needs love. And we talk about this as just holding one's own hand when one is feeling sad. This could do a huge difference. Many do not understand how powerful it is just to love oneself. Self-love is not just by thinking the way you deserve and telling yourself the things you want to hear. It is to sit with yourself in the moments that you crave from others and give that to yourself.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there anything else about self-love or native frequencies?
We cannot say too much on the subject, as much has been given. We feel that many are going to start to get confused because there is multiple perspectives of how this could happen. What we could say is, for those who stem more of the earth, those who are part of this earth native frequency, it is to go into the physical nature and ground oneself into the earth. But do not ground yourself through the root chakra. Ground yourself through the heart. This is going to help unlock the native frequency. We know that there are many watching who are connected to the earth and who are connected to nature, and they will understand this information as it goes through. Many of the earth children, as we would say, from this elemental, would know this. This is now time to start rooting through the chest. It would unlock a lot of things. It is now to start absorbing from the soil. Ask the planet around you. Talk to the physical planet. It will talk back. This is how easy it can be. It would instantaneously let you know what you need to do to upgrade your frequency to hold that light. This could be an easy concept for most who enjoy the outdoors.
Okay, but how does one then connect one's heart frequency to the earth?
It is basically the same way as one would do with the root chakra. You could picture roots coming out of the center of the heart, going in towards the earth and absorbing.
Yes.
Some could beam a light out. Some could project a frequency wave. Some could literally go and hug a tree and they could get the same effect. It is just by bringing that awareness to the heart and from the heart, and by creating the frequency intent. The intent is very important. The energetical exchange cannot take place without an intent. The intent must be set. The intent must be laid by saying, this is going to connect me to the true self, and to just allow the intent to go. Do not change the intent while doing the action, as it would throw you off balance.
Yes. Okay. Okay, and just talking about Gaia or Mother Earth, where does she need the most attention at this time? Just using an example, replanting, reforesting, restoring her can take place to bring the oxygen levels higher for humanity. And where does she need the most attention, and how can we show her more love?
The planetary alignments are creating different energy frequency bases, and we think that it is physical. It is not. The ocean is now the most important. The most of the oxygen and the most of the life teems out of the ocean. The ocean is currently being under attack from different areas of the planet that many are not aware of. Different frequencies are being blasted into the planet, which is harming the planet. If the ocean cannot sustain, if the water cannot thrive on the planet, Gaia will not thrive. Regrowth can always happen anywhere. Soil can change. Frequency properties will change. However, if many could put their attention to the ocean, saving what is in the ocean first, this is going to help the shift. The water holds a lot of the memory. It holds a lot of the frequency base. Without the water, no memory could be stemmed into different areas of the planet, which would then make all of those attempts useless.
So are you talking about the life, saving the life in the oceans, or?
Yes. saving the life in the ocean and saving the ocean itself. The thing is, many don't know about the frequency projections. There are frequencies being projected into the ocean, even now as we speak. Thus is why we are close to the ocean. We are here to hear the call.
Yeah, what is the call?
The call for the ocean. The ocean is crying for help. The ocean needs light. The ocean needs assistance. Many can project their light into the ocean. Many don't even have to be in the ocean. They could just think of it, and this could happen depending on their frequency. But this is something that needs to happen. There is so much trauma happening into the ocean, which is then causing trauma into the earth herself.
Okay, but you're saying people can just visualize, just be next to the ocean, do visualizations, or what can they do?
Yes, there's many ways of doing it. Many could do visualization, many could picture, many could physically go and do something. Many walk past the ocean on a daily basis, walk past the earth, see a plastic, see a piece of paper, pick it up. Do not leave it for the next. You have been sent there for a reason. Maybe if those who go jog by the ocean take a bag with them, there is different ways of doing it, different ways of starting the chain reaction, starting the intent. By one starting to physically clean, it will ripple out to energetically clean and vice versa.
Okay.
There's also things that need to be stopped, as physical things are happening inside of the ocean, as there are physical attacks. These different companies starting to create different frequency bases inside of the ocean is starting to cause big damage. This is going to ripple out onto the people. This is going to ripple out into the frequency. This is what we need to stop. Many need to petition. Many need to stop that light from being discrepant.
Yes. Okay. So people need to stand up and speak up in that sense.
Yes. But there is a group of people who know who they are. They need to physically go and ground themselves into the ocean. Okay. Thus will happen. We cannot state when, but there will be a day where they would do mass meditation and all go ground themselves into the actual ocean by standing into it and holding hands and creating alignment frequency. Thus is going to happen.
Okay. And then what is the purpose of projecting these frequencies into the ocean? You're saying it's kind of like a living library, right?
Yes. So what they are doing is they're trying to taint the energy. Everything needs memory. Everything is water. What they are doing is they are trying to chase the thought-based frequencies, and the best way to do it is projected off the ocean. The ocean is like a giant mirror projecting frequencies back onto the earth. The earth is streaming out her own frequencies, but this is what is creating problems with the thought-based frequency that is attacking many energetically, is because it is reflecting off of the water.
Okay. But just clarify who this they is that's projecting.
They are many. They are dimensional beings from different areas who do not want to see the planet succeed. They have a lot of human beings which free willingly follow their work. There is many names for them, but we cannot state these names. As we would say, many would know who they are. Some would say they are evil. We do not perceive them as such. We just perceive them as lost. This is lost energy that has forgotten where they come from. However, they are fighting for a plane. They are fighting for an area where they could still exist. Their dimensional space is starting to collapse. They are also trying to ripple into different dimensional spaces. They are using humans to try and open different dimensional spaces to allow these beings to come back here. This cannot happen. This needs to be stopped. This is why it is important for the collective to put their minds to this, that this could not happen.
So is there any way that we can help move our brothers and sisters of the dark into the light?
Yes, there is, but the simple context would be to love them, but many would not understand that. The thing is, love is not to physically say, I love you. It is to comprehend. It is to comprehend that they are lost. It is to comprehend that they do not know what they are doing. They think they are doing something right for their own self-gain, where they do not realize the problematicness that could come from it. Some of them do and still choose not to do it.
Okay. Is there any message for them today?
For them to stop. However, they would not listen. They wouldn't even consider this message as a threat. They wouldn't even pay attention. And this is where they are making their mistakes. The thing is, the people are strong. The people are aware. By them doing the things that they are doing to try and lock everybody down, to try and create fear, is just awakening more. They are actually making our job easier.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else, anything for the Lightworkers today? It seems like we're getting close to the end here.
Yes. The grids have been placed. Now it is to activate them. Many think these grids have already been activated. The grids have been laid, but they have not been activated. Sorry, another is coming through.
Okay, who are we speaking with now?
Hello. I'm the water.
Yes, thank you very much.
It is now to reflect the light back. It is to reflect it through. Now what has happened is many have created the grids and created the different channels. Now it is to stream the light through it. All of those must root their hearts and stream through it. This is an easy concept, but we know many are not going to understand this. So we would lay it like that. Many need to start clearing the thought-based frequencies around them and picture a pyramid of light coming from the center of the heart and projecting it up into the light. This could be done as group meditation or individual. This is going to help project all of that light frequency, that love-based, into the grid. The grid is already there and there is light moving through the grid. This is just to create a reflection, to create a projection coming back down on the planet. However, one must know that this is going to be a tricky business, as when this light starts to reflect, multiple changes are going to start to happen. But one must not get scared of these changes. One must welcome them. It is time to break away from the system that does not serve us anymore. It is now time to create the jump of oneself, because where one goes, all will go.
Yes. Okay, is there anything else for the Lightworkers today? You're talking about a grid. What can you just clarify to people what that is?
There has been a grid laid around the planet, as we could say, as a cover. As many would perceive this as different lines and different frequencies, as we could say, it looks almost like a snowflake, but not entirely. It is more advanced than this. It is different shapes. It is different perceptions. It is different projections coming through for the different beings. Now, these grids are there to help those stem into the light, to protect the light, as the light needs to create the jump. We cannot lose the light off of the planet. However, that would be waste. Also, this planet's jump needs to happen more securely, as we can say, as it would start to ripple into other spaces, which would put other planets at risk. This is why it is a tricky business. This is why we need to be more aware of this. Now, these light grids have been placed all over. There are many that stem from different pyramids and different areas. They are coming online, the different pyramids, not the ones that are laced with the different chakras of the earth, as we could say, but just the normal pyramids to help create a beacon of light. This is what needs to happen. Each one's body, we could say, is like a little pyramid, streaming out light and beaming up. It is now to actively use that, but it needs to be done with the right intent. There needs to be a loving frequency being pushed out. When the loving frequency gets pushed out into the grid, it is going to reflect back onto the planet. This is going to help the mass awakening. This is going to help neutralize the fear. Many would go into deeper fear, as this higher vibrational light around them, they would not know how to perceive it. But this is not something that we need to be concerned of. This is for themselves. They have chosen that path. There is no more time to waste. There is no more thoughts that we could dwell back into. It is now to look forward and project the light up.
Okay, anything for humanity in general?
Humanity is doing good. We would just like to let everybody know that they are doing good, doing a lot better than one would think. Everyone thinks that this is now chaotic time and that they are not doing good, but they are doing so well. We could not have perceived it to happen any better. So far, everything is going according to plan, as we could say. It is now to just keep the timeline.